Welcome to the Dance Studio Empire podcast, a mix of business strategies, simple tips for studio growth and success, with a touch of inspiration, motivation, plus raw and honest conversations to ensure you are building your studio empire. I'm your host, Jen Dalton, studio owner for 30 years, dance business coach, and author of the book Teaching Dance Beyond the Steps. My business philosophy is creativity is our superpower, and I believe we all have the means and ability to infiltrate this into our studio. Just sometimes we can get too busy, distracted, or overwhelmed to see that. And so this is exactly what I am here to help you do. Okay then, let's do this. Hit that subscribe button, sit back and relax. Now let's get ready to build your dance studio empire. Welcome to today's podcast, which is how to plan, create, and execute your teacher training. Because this training is broken into 3 phases, I'm going to make it into a 3-part series. So in this episode, I'll talk to you about going through the planning phase. Now, during the planning phase is where we identify what the perfect teacher looks like for your studio, places to find that perfect teacher, as well as the 6-step interviewing process to lock in that perfect teacher. And then part 2 will be the creating phase. And during the creating phase, I will talk to you about identifying the when, the who, the how, and the where of your teacher training plan, establishing relevant topics and content to cover in your training sessions, as well as organizing and compiling your training into useful workbooks and resources for your teachers. And then part 3 will be the executing phase. Now, during this phase, this is where we get clear on the training day setup and the exact steps you need to follow, tips to positively manage your team and have them working cohesively, and also identifying your studio and teacher guidelines. So let's get into it. I really believe most studio owners understand the importance and benefits of training their teachers, but there are still a few who possibly haven't thought about it. And this is why I originally put this training together. Over the next 3 episodes, I will take you through a 3-step process of how to plan, create, and successfully deliver training to your team and ensure that your team aligns with and complements your studio in order for it to continue to grow and be successful. By the end, you will have a clear vision and path forward to gaining more time, more choice, that work-life balance that we talk about, as well as profit, which is the goal, right? It is for most of us anyway. So whether you're not sure where to start or you simply want to tweak what you're currently doing, these episodes, they should give you what you need to get that done. All right, so the planning phase. Let's get clear as to why it's so important to find quality teachers for your studio. Finding the right people to make up your team is, in my opinion, the most important place to start if you want your studio to be successful. Your teachers are a direct representative of you and your studio, and they can affect your business in so many ways. They can be the difference between average and great student retention numbers, how successful your re-enrollment is, as well as having a positive or negative, well-known reputation in the area. So when it comes to recruiting these teachers, there are certain things that you should want to ensure before you even get them through the door. So a checklist, if you've got a pen and you want to take notes, I definitely would suggest doing this. Some things for you to think about and consider when you're looking for new teachers to join your team. Number 1, you want teachers to speak to your students the way that you would expect in your studio. So this will vary, of course, depending on the type of studio you are. Just be very clear on how it is you expect them to speak to them and make sure that the person you are interviewing understands that and is able to do that. Number 2, Your students are continually learning in an environment that you want. So, again, you need to be really clear on how it is you expect your teachers to run their classes and make sure the teacher is able to give that to your students. Number three, the music, the choreography, and the syllabus are to your standards. Number four, their grooming and attitude is appropriate for your studio. Again, this is going to be dependent on the type of studio you are and your expectations. Number five is that they communicate and address parents and students with respect. And number six is that they're adhering to your structure in terms of the way you expect them to plan out the dance year and the schedule of their teaching. So basically, they need to be able to follow your rules. Again, whatever that is for you, you just need to make sure that they're clear that that's what you expect. Okay. A challenge I know for many studio owners is where to find suitable teachers. And I'm seeing this is becoming more and more of an issue for studio owners all around the world. Certainly, you can start by putting an ad on Facebook or StarNow, Craigslist, or Seek, or Indeed. But there are a few other ways that I've found teachers over the years that can sometimes actually be more beneficial than finding someone brand new. So the first one is to ask others in the industry if they know of anybody looking for extra work. I'm hoping that you have a good relationship with other studio owners in your area, and maybe you can reach out and ask them. So maybe they have a ballet teacher that works 2 days a week at their studio who may be looking for more work. I know I certainly reach out to some beautiful studio owners around me and vice versa, and we have been able to help each other out in the past. And in doing that, we're helping the teacher as well because they're getting more work. Number two, contact dance departments at different schools or colleges where teachers are training. They will often also have a notice board where you can put up adverts, and most are willing to do that as well. Number three, ask any of your current staff if they have any friends or know of anyone looking for extra work. The benefit with this is the current staff that you have, they know the value and they know the mission that you have in your studio. So they're more likely to recommend someone that's going to fit in with you, which is exactly what you want. Number four, go through any resumes that may have been sent to you in the past. So I'm really lucky we get lots of resumes sent throughout the whole year. And when they do, I put them in a folder and I keep record of them. I'll go into that detail a little bit further down the track, how we actually do that. But that is a really good way to keep your database full. Number five, and I think this is probably the best way to go if you can, and that is to grow and train your own teachers. And then number six, so something that I did many years ago was to add a Google form to my website so that if a teacher Googles dance teaching jobs and then in your area, they are directed to the form and they fill in the details. That those details are then kept on file, and then when it comes time for me to look for a new teacher, I start there and I go through that list and I start to qualify them. So there's just some alternate ways to look for teachers at the time when you need to. All right, moving on. So now that you've found some possible prospects, it's time to start interviewing to see if they're a good fit for your studio. Now, on a side note, you should be continually looking and making contact with potential teachers all the time. The more resumes, contacts, and teachers you have in that database, the easier it is to start when the time is to hire. And I'm sure you know, you can be swimming along merrily, and then out of nowhere, a teacher gets sick, or a teacher has to move, or things stop working very fast. And so you may have to find someone quite quickly. So, this is where it's a really good time to have those potential teachers already qualified, already have touch base with them so they know where you are for times like that. For me, I start my interviewing and hiring about 3 months before the end of our dance year. So for those of us in Australia, I'm planning the following year in September, October. So I'm already interviewing and reaching out at that time because my aim is to have all my teachers and staff sorted, confirmed, and locked in before the end of our dance year. And then this way, I'm not desperately interviewing or hiring in a panic just before we start back, because this is when we run the risk of hiring that wrong person. And now I have to say, it doesn't always work. Sometimes I haven't quite fulfilled my team and I still will need to interview in January, even sometimes the beginning of Feb. But the goal is to have at least the majority of the teachers locked in. So then we can enjoy Christmas. We can enjoy that break over January a little bit more. And then just smoothly go back into the year and transition any new staff in the way we need to and not be focusing on still trying to find the right person. Okay, so some things to keep in mind before offering an interview. And these points are only going to save you time and energy. So it's up to you whether you do or not. And it's simply a matter of asking yourself, or maybe even doing some of your own research to find out, does this person align with your studio values? Does this role align with their professional values? Does this person align with your teaching values? Does this person have the qualifications in the correct areas that you're looking for? Does this person have enough teaching experience in the areas that you're looking for? Again, it's all going to be different for each of us depending on what it is you are looking for, the type of studio you are running, but just know what they are so you can just clarify that the right person is starting the interview process before you get too far down the track. But finally, I just want you to always trust your intuition when you come into contact with someone because it will very rarely let you down. So learn to listen to it and go with that gut. And I speak from experience with that, and there several years ago, we were so desperately looking for a ballet teacher. And we had honestly, we'd interviewed probably about 20 different teachers, and they were all great in their own ways, but they didn't fit in with the values of our studio. And so it got to the point, and I think it was about the 21st interview with a teacher, and she was pretty okay, but I knew she wasn't the right fit. Anyway, she only ended up lasting about 3 weeks, and I had to find another teacher after that. So I'm still learning my own lessons, so I'm just putting it out there for you as well. Okay, now that you have the list of possible prospects who appear suitable on paper, it's now we move to the interviewing process. And I follow a 6-step interviewing process, which I'm going to talk you through now. So, the first thing I will do is contact them by email. And I just send a generic email as a way to initiate contact. The email is simply, "Hi, their name, it's Jen here from Jigsaw Dance. We're starting the process of looking for a couple of teachers to become part of our team. A little while ago, you sent me your resume, which I've kept on file. Are you still interested in taking on some extra classes? If so, I would love to give you a quick call and have a chat about it. Let me know." Now, I usually wait until I hear back from them before moving on to the next step. However, I've found over the past couple of years that some of the younger applicants don't check their emails regularly. So if I'm particularly drawn to someone and I haven't heard back, I will send them a text message or a message via social media and just basically saying the same thing. Step 2, once I hear from them, I will organize a quick phone call. So once they've responded, I organize a time to give them a call, or my studio manager will give them a call. Now, this is usually just a quick chat, and although it's quick, it is still part of that interviewing process. I use this call to assess things like their language, their active listening, their ability to initiate proactive conversation, because this is immensely important to me for teachers who work at my studio. And then during this phone call, I'll do an initial assessment of them, and then they're basically put into 3 categories, and I call them my 3 baskets. So I've got a hot basket, and these are the people who, I really believe have a lot of potential and organize a more formal interview with them. Then the second one's the warm basket. So I feel okay about these ones. Not 100% sure. So we'll possibly organize an interview, but in a less formal setting. So it might be a local cafe. And then third is the cold basket. And these are the teachers who simply don't align with the studio or the teaching values. And so, pretty much at this point, we give them a quick call or we'll send them an email, thank them for their time, and let them know that they've not been successful. Now, it's at the end of this conversation, if they're ticking all the right boxes and they're in that hot basket, I organize that face to face meeting with them. And that brings us to step 3. So, step 3, the face to face meeting. Now, meeting your prospects in person will give you a big insight into the type of teacher they will most likely be. Things like even before they will turn up, I note things and not necessarily right or wrong, but I'm just taking notes. First thing, did they confirm the interview before today? I know we will generally confirm because I just don't want to waste time with people not turning up, and that has happened. Um, but I've also had ones who they actually confirm, just checking, we're still good for tomorrow at 2:30 and at the location. And so I love that. I think that's a really good starting point. Second thing, did they arrive on time or were they early? And then if they were late, did they let you know? Did they send you a quick message or give you a quick call? These are all really important points. And finally, what have they chosen to wear and how have they chosen to present themselves for this interview? Now, there's no right or wrong because it is completely up to you what you believe is acceptable or not. But it's just, again, something to take note of. Are they taking this seriously? Have they put any effort in? Are they dressing to the job description? If they're doing hip hop, have they come in hip hop gear? As I said, there's no right or wrong. It's just something for you to take note of. Now, during the interview, I'm watching their body language and I'm looking to see whether they're talking about themselves and their experience, whether it's overly confident or whether it's suitably humble. I also don't want someone to really talk themselves down because I need to see that beautiful happy medium. I also want to see if they're demonstrating any initiative by being prepared with good questions. And when I speak to teachers about going for interviews, I tell them how important it is to find out about the company you're going for a job with because you want to be asking questions that are relevant to them. Show the owner that you've taken some time before turning up. They showed some interest in the company that you want to be employed by. And so this is a really good time to see if they really know who we are, whether they've taken that time before coming. And remember that first impression that you feel with someone is most likely the same impression your parents and students are going to feel as well. So that's why it is important to get it right from the beginning. Okay, so step 4, moving on, is so during the interview. Okay, we we want to see the absolute best of this person during the interview because if we do employ them and they're comfortable in the environment and they're fitting in beautifully, they're going to perform at a different level than if they are nervous and unsure and just feeling uncomfortable in the situation. So during your interview, try and make the environment or the situation as comfortable as possible just to help ease their nerves. And this could be as simply as just having the space or the room set up in a practical setup. So whether there's chairs and a table, also greet them at the door and then guide them where you want them to sit. Don't leave it up to them to make those decisions. Just say, have a seat here. Would you like a drink of water? Just try and break the ice and get them comfortable. It's really important though to remember asking them specifically about their goals and dreams for the future and where they ultimately want to end up, because this may play a pivotal part in whether or not you want to hire them. Because in the past, some have said to me in interview, they want to travel and they dance around the world, they want to audition for professional gigs. And this is, of course, absolutely fine. But those type of people are generally not going to stay around for long because if they get a job, they're going to leave, which is absolutely fine. But is that going to work for you as a studio owner? And I've had people that sit in an interview and say, "Oh, look, I'm just looking for a job. I'm just looking to earn some money until I get professional work." And They may be absolutely perfect and I love them and I want them, but it also might not be the smartest hire, because if they leave, then I have to do the process again and find somebody else. Again, this is a matter for you. You might be looking for someone who you just want to cover classes, or you want to come in for workshops, in school holidays, things like that. So they might be perfect for you. But if you're looking for someone long term, for me personally, I want someone for at least a year. I want them to see them through a year of dance before they move on. Hopefully they stay for years and years. But that breaking up in between, within the dance year, trying to find someone to slot in is hard. And I've done it, and I'm sure you've done it. So if we can, make the process as positive as possible, that they will stay the whole year, then that's definitely the way I head. It is a matter for you, of course. Okay, step 5. If it is possible, they're sounding good at the end of the interview, ask them to come along as a guest teacher if you can. If maybe you're doing a workshop or a teacher's sick, have them come and take the classes. We did this last year with one of our new teachers. We had a couple of our teachers were doing their higher school certificate, so they had some exams towards the end of the year. And I've done the interview process, and this teacher was looking great, which, by the way, we did end up hiring, and she has been great. And we had her come and cover the classes. By doing this, it gives you that idea of how they prepare for the lesson, how they dress and groom themselves, how they communicate, engage, demonstrate, teach your students exactly what you want to know before you actually hire them. Because in a lot of cases, we don't get that. And if you're doing a quick hire and you need someone to start next week, that's a bit of a gamble. So, and I know it does have to happen sometimes, and hopefully the gamble does pay off. But if you have the opportunity, it's a really great idea to try and get them through your doors before you actually offer them the job. And then after they're finished taking that class, if possible, or the workshop, ask your kids how they felt. If the opportunity arises, ask their parents how they felt their child responded to the teacher. Or if there are any other teachers or staff members around who were introduced to them, how did they feel? Because it all matters if you want them to join your teaching team. So for us, again, it's a family thing. Like, I want teachers to come in and feel like they're part of our family, part of our team. I don't want them just to turn up and do their job and leave. So that's what's really important. Asking others around will give that feeling for you as well and help with that decision. Okay, and finally, step 6, you've determined that they're the right fit. You offer them a position and they accept. So now it's really important to make them feel part of the team. First thing to do is just to organize that meeting. Now, whether it's you yourself or you have a manager or an accounts officer to finalize those details, get that done as soon as possible. Have any contracts or agreements decided on and signed. This way you can just ease your mind. You don't need to worry. Things are moving forward. You've agreed on everything. You've agreed on the price. You've agreed, on their money that they want. They've agreed on your conditions. Have it all settled and sorted so you're not left with questions. Really, really important is to organize a thorough onboarding for this new teacher, because it's going to only help them settle quickly and with ease. And this is what we want. You want your teacher to walk in and know exactly what they need to do, what's expected of them, what to wear, exactly how you want to start the class, exactly how you want to finish the class, because that's going to take away any questions or uncertainty that they're going to bring in. So it's up to you as a studio owner to make sure that that process is thoroughly done. And on that note, organizing a positive introduction to your families is also really beneficial for you if you want to do that. So again, if it's worked perfectly and it's the end of one dance year and it's the beginning of a new dance year and you're introducing a new teacher, put a post on or do an email with their photo and get them to answer some questions about themselves or talk about themselves a little bit. You have to remember that these parents are entrusting their children into the care of us and our teachers. And so get that trust there faster and quicker by letting them know who this person is, let them know their experience, show them their face so they're not a stranger as such when they first turn up. This is, again, just going to help with that ease of getting the new year started. And then finally, of this is organize a special introduction with the other team members, so everybody else. And this could be as simple as going out for a coffee in the morning, on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday morning to introduce them. Maybe it's the first training session of your year. Have them come in, make them feel important, make them feel welcome, and make sure that your other team members are including them as well. Because as I said, for me, and maybe again you're different, but when someone new is coming in, I want them to feel part of the team and part of that family because it benefits me. It benefits my business. It benefits my dancers. So there's some points that you can actually look at throughout that whole interviewing process as part of your planning. Okay, so that's it. That's what you need to include in your planning phase. Now, if you would like a copy of the questions that I ask during the interviews, I'll leave a link below in the show notes and you can just download it. Remember, tune in to the next episode because I'm going to go deeper into the next phase, which is the creating phase. So during the creating phase, this is where we get practical. You'll need a pen, you'll need a paper or your computer, however you like to take notes. This is how we're going to organize the when, the who, the how, the where of your training plan. We're going to talk about the topics and the content, how you put all that together, how you decide what it is you're going to teach train your teachers in, and then the organizing and the compiling of that training. So into the workbooks for your teachers or into useful resources for you or your teachers. So that's coming up next. So make sure that you tune in for that. Okay, so that's it for this week. Keep building your studio empire, and I will catch you for the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Dance Studio Empire. If you enjoyed it, please share it on your stories on Instagram and be sure to tag me at Dance Teacher Central so I can say thank you. And if you really want to support me and the show, I'd absolutely love for you to leave a rating or review. For all the latest from me, you can follow me at Dance Teacher Central on Instagram and Facebook. Be sure to tune in next week for more strategies and tips to ensure you are building your dance studio empire.